I never wanted to be a barber, which is quite funny. I just didn't want to go back to school. So in the summer of '91, it was a great summer. I spent most of it on the beach down south, and I come home, I hadn't got a job. My mum sent me back to school. I went into the sixth form meeting and I walked out of the sixth form meeting, and she gave me a fortnight to find a job. She said I'd just come home, I was ill. So every day she took me to the job centre, and every day there was an apprenticeship in a local barber shop, and every day I refused to go. It got to the last day, she said to me, if you go and have an interview there, I know you don't want to go back to school. I'll give you another week off looking. So I turned up at the local barber shop. I went dressed really smart. I walked in, I sat down with the owner, and I said, look, I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't want to waste your time. This is something that I don't want to do. He's like, oh really? Why is that? So I explained what had gone on. So he said, oh great, do you fancy doing a day's trial for me tomorrow? Really? I really didn't understand how he'd want me to. So, come back the following morning, and I've always done something that you asked me to. So, I did everything that he asked me to, and at the end of the day he said, fine, you can start on Monday. Now, if you don't mind me asking, why? He said, well, you're the most honest 16-year-old kid we've ever had walk through that door, and we deal in cash. So, you worked really hard today, I'm giving you a job. So I went home, and I was walking home, and I was very upset. I was, in fact, nearly brought to tears, because this shop was where every lunatic that I went to school with went for their haircut. So I went home, told my mum, I've got a job. She was thrilled. She said, give it 3 weeks, you can look for another job. So needless to say, 3 weeks came, I wouldn't get up on a Monday morning. She turned around, she said to me, gotta go to work. So I said, okay, fair enough, I'll go in my tracksuit. He'll send me home, because I'm not allowed to wear a tracksuit in work. Goes to work. Unbeknownst to me, my mum had already phoned the shop and told my boss what was happening. Needless to say, he didn't send me home, and the rest is history. At 19, I was managing one of his stores. At 21, I opened my first barbershop. So that's brought me to where I am today.
Perfect. And tell me a little bit about these barbershops, because you're a multiple barbershop owner.
Okay, well, I have a very classic barbershop, which is Traditions Barbershop, which is a 4-chair barbershop, and it's a classic walk in, sit down, wait. I think we were a little bit ahead of the curve 20 years ago. We give away fresh coffee, we had drinks fridge, we bought every quarterly men's magazine, and we bought 10 newspapers a day. It was a really great shop, still is a great shop. Still stands there true today, employs 4 barbers. Then I decided, I was a competitive hairdresser. I used to compete for the National Men's Hairdressing Federation team. And I was going off all over Europe doing these hairdressing competitions, competing in the technical classics. I used to have clients that come in and say to me, Ian's never in work, come in, he's never here. And yet I didn't feel as though I ever had a day off. So I decided the best way to combat this was to leave my barbershop, and was to open a new brand called Attitude Men's Hair. And Attitude Men's Hair sits, or the original store sits 3 doors down on the opposite side of the road, and is an appointment-based men's barbershop. And the reason for that was because I did so much travelling, then people would phone up to have an appointment with myself, and it'd be more a case of he's here, he's not here, but I wasn't wasting anyone's time. And that really then started the benchmark and building. And it allowed me to start tweaking the service that I think we did so well in the barbers, but making it better and making it much more of an environment for men to come and build on the day. It was an addition, it was part of the day, rather than, as Pete was saying to you before, you know, you can go into a barber's on a Saturday, you might sit there for 3 hours. Whereas an appointment, we're half-an-hour appointments, it's half an hour out your day that you get, if you're just having a haircut, that you get to chill out. So, or if you come in for a shave, it's an hour out of your day. But we're very strict with our appointments. We aim never to run late, and that, I think, is, as people were saying to you before, is definitely why we're building a new culture of men that want these kind of services.
Okay. So you said you used to travel around educated, that is, yeah?
Then I was a competitive men's hairdresser. I used to compete for the National Hairdressers Federation men's technical team and compete in the classics. So I then became, after opening Attitude, I was then introduced to American Crew, which was a brand that we used to sell in the barber shop, but they were building an education team in the UK, and my rep from American Crew knew that I'd worked in barber school, I'd trained barbers, and I'd also been this competitive hairdresser, barber, so I was used to being in front of people, and I had a good way of teaching. So I then started down the road of becoming a crew educator, and I've now been an American crew educator for 12 years this year. And that takes me all over the world.
Okay, and what is your area of speciality in training? You know, some people do long hair, some people are skin fade. What's your niche, if you like, in training? Your area of specialty?
I'd say I cover every aspect of men's hair, from the classics right through to trend. I'm educated every year. I go to a retreat every year and I work through new collections of what American Crew define as a new collection of hair. So I'm still very well educated myself, and every member of my team I've trained. So from grassroots, being never holding a pair of scissors, right up to teaching somebody an advanced skill, is where I'd say I'm at, because I'm a very passionate barber, and one of the big things about me is I like to see change in people. And you know, he can verify that. He's known me since he was 14, 15, and I always try, I like difficult people as well. I always like to try and see what we have to do to work outside the box to get you to where you need to be. But from a barbering basis, I do everything from skin fading to long hair. I cut hair with razors to working with clippers. I'd say I'm quite a good all-rounder.
Okay, perfect. So that's your product in terms of services. Do you have any physical products, clothing or wet products?
No, we retail, I'd say, lines and brands that are well renowned. My ideal of putting my own name on a wet line has never really been my philosophy. My philosophy is we sell really good brands, and the brands that I can't compete with in terms of product development. My development is in the cutting skill of my team, and that's what I bring to the table. So we sell high-end product that looks and helps our work stand out. My skill is developing talent and building talent and educating customers.
Okay, perfect. And what would you say that your biggest achievement to date is? Because you've been in the business a long time and it seems like you've travelled lots and done lots. What would you say personally is your biggest achievement to date?
My biggest achievement to date?
Personally, in your personal opinion?
Is seeing that this year I've now trained 36 barbers in 19 and a half years, and not one of them doesn't have a job. And I'm still a nice guy.
And where do you get your biggest sense of satisfaction, let's say? You know, it's a long time to have been in the business. Where's the satisfaction?
Standing behind my chair and seeing my clients and being in and around the culture of my business. But also, I love being at a cruise show and being in the audience and people seeing what I've done without knowing it was me. That's probably always been my biggest satisfaction, is people, because as somebody that manipulates scissors for a living, it's not what I do, it's what I leave people with, which is much more important. And that's the physical presence that lasts 4 weeks. Okay. And that's what's important to me. And if people can stand and watch what I've done from a stage point of view in a runway presentation and not know it's me, I get more satisfaction out of that than actually being on stage. I love the buzz of being on stage, but the appreciation from being the guy in the shadows is much more where I've always been.
Okay, so you've inspired. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
Where do you get your inspiration from?
I get my inspiration from my peers that are believed to be very well-renowned hairdressers. I like being pushed, and I also get inspiration from young, new up-and-coming talent. I'm getting a lot of inspiration, believe it or not, from the likes of yourself and Pete. The way you now have taken over the social media world it excites me. That really does excite me, because that's something that personally I don't really like to be involved in, but I'm seeing this epidemic grow and think that there's got to be some room for a little bit of Ian in there somewhere.
Okay, with your vast experience, you know, lots of people are creating content. You must be pretty much like the Liverpudlian Library of barbering if you were to start creating content and building your presence on Instagram. That must excite you even more. Yeah,
definitely. I think it depends on where you like to see your business. And one of the things that it drew to me was the convenience side of it for our guys. We have a 3-chair barbers in Attitude, and so that still gives you the barbershop banter and the barbershop feel, because there's 3 of us cutting hair, 2 appointments. But time, you know yourself, time is what everybody craves nowadays, and men are busier now, I think, than they've ever been in terms of work-life balance. And I just think that 30-minute appointment, that knowing that we'll work to time, matters so much now. Well, I was a bit of a coward, because to change my barbers, I opened a new one. I left my barbers where it was, and it was quite funny. Some people said I was mad, because I left my barbers where it was, and 3 doors down on the opposite side of the road, I opened a new brand to compete with it. So everybody thought I was crazy. But when Pete and I had a conversation about making that work for him, like he said to you, one of the things that I did do, or one of the things I would recommend, is if you're in a barbershop with 3 or more chairs, then make one person appointment based each day. So change that round. So make Pete an appointment based barber on a Monday, make Larry an appointment based barber on a Tuesday, and then soften it into the culture. Or like Pete did, start giving people cards. Everybody that comes in, as of the 1st of September, as of the 1st or moving into December, it's a really busy time of year. What we're going to do is we're going to encourage everyone to book. Please don't be offended if we turn you away. We will make sure that we fit you in somewhere, and do it that way. And it is literally a culture of teaching you gents why it's better for them.
Okay.
And time, honestly, if you could turn around and say to somebody, I'll give you 3 hours back on a Saturday, that's priceless.
Okay. And it's just a question of sticking to it. So let's say you had the regular coming in for 11 years, he tips a tenner every time, and he says, "Oh, just squeeze, can you just do..."
No.
Oh, it has to be you literally have to be as stern as that.
I'm ice cold.
Yeah.
One of the things that I never do is I never fit anyone in. Something else that I never do, and I listened to Pete's interview with you before, we have half an hour appointments. If you're 5 minutes late, then you come in, we'll sit you down and we'll give you a clean-up service, because we offer a clean-up service, and we'll ask you to rebook, because I understand you need to look tidy, and that's why you're coming for a haircut, but you're that late that you're going to make me overrun. So we give you a clean-up service, so you're still getting a nice clean-up around your ears and your neck shaving and things, and we'll apply product and send you out the door looking fresh, but we don't have the time to give you a full haircut. So would you want me to rush your haircut, or would you want me to send you out looking respectable? Because I can't afford my day to overrun. My days are long enough.
And out of 10, how many might you not see as a result of not bending over backwards, if you like, for them?
Out of 10, I'd probably say the people that let me down like that, or do that happens, they want squeezing in, or they turn up late, then out of 10 I'd probably say I lose 6. But the culture of my business, my clients may run late, but I literally don't squeeze anyone in, so they don't ask anymore.
Okay. And you know, because obviously you're passionate about being a barber, in percentage terms, how much time less do you think the phone rings now with these applications? You know, because obviously if you stop in a haircut to pick up the phone to take appointments, to write it in a book, you're going to lose time. So how much less does the phone ring now with these new apps?
Well, we have an online booking service, but then we have the phone, and our phone rings all day. Our online booking service is fantastic, and the main reason we have our online booking service basically is it keeps our reception open 24 hours a day. Our phone rings, but in fairness, we all have a phone at each station. There's a phone on the reception desk, and at peak times, peak days, we have a receptionist as well. So it doesn't interrupt us that much, but I'd say that the phone is still 85% of our business.
Okay. And do you think that barbers not on appointment system are losing out on something, you know, like I was saying to Pete, with in terms of the experience of barbershop by having it stressed?
I think what we're noticing now is a culture of this really old school drive, and being a proper barbershop is a very cultural thing, and they're almost dipping the hat to us because we're not cool, allegedly. But the thing that inspires me about looking at that is I still have that element and that arm of my business, and I believe where we're falling short is it's the culture of people. It's not allowing them to have that choice. And there's definitely, and I can prove, 2 different types of guy that walks down the road, because I have 2 different businesses on the same street. There is a culture of men that want that service, and it's a growing culture. And there's still a culture of men that happily walk into a barber's. You can look now in this city alone, there's a barbershop springing up on every corner wanting to be an old school barbershop. And that's cool, but I'll be interested to see, I've been here 20 years now next year, I'll be interested to see who's here in another 10. And I hope with my arrogance, I'll definitely still be here in another 10. And I think it's the diversity that's making it very interesting. We're going to an event today, be interesting to see how many people are pushing more trend than what we're seeing on every street corner at the moment. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next couple of years with that argument. But I think there's a place for both, I really do. But what I do think is the client is expecting more, because now with the internet, with apps, with Twitter, social media, and Instagram especially, I think clients know now what's right and what's wrong, and they're expecting better service levels.
Okay. And as a businessman, because you've got both types of business, you've got the classic walk-in and the appointment base. In terms of stress levels, which ones, you know, tell me how they register in your mind. What's the
only stress I ever get is when my shops are empty. I love the theatre of the barbers being busy. And again, people probably, I have always loved being in a busy barber's. My barbershop, when I was in there, was 12 people deep all day, and I love it, and I'll throw stuff at the queue, and I have a laugh and a joke with them. And you know, I was in there briefly a few weeks ago, and I walked over with my scissors, and one of the guys that was waiting was like, "Oh, it'll be fine, we'll be in and out of here now in 5 minutes, easy." Because in that environment, I can be very quick. And people say to me, "Wow, you can't cut hair that quick." But I built a business on it. It's still there, it's still thriving today. I don't believe my quality's any different whether I'm fast or whether I work to an appointment. People might differ, but I love the theatre of the barbers, whether it's Attitude or whether it's Traditions Barbershop. And the only pressure and stress I get is when there's nobody in them. Unfortunately, touch wood, that's not very often.
Okay. So to close this interview, it would be fair to say that you, with all your 20 years experience and seeing all the different trends in barbering and so forth, you think that the way forward will be appointments for the future? I
think as we move into the future and people's lives get busier, I do think that the growing market is appointment-based barbering.
So you'd say it's better to adopt that in some shape or form now rather than later and let other barbers steal your trade because you're not with the flow of the trend.
And I definitely think that having the culture that maybe splitting the shop, having 2 out of 4 chairs appointment based and rotating your staff through it is definitely a very good argument. It's definitely a very interesting proposition to a lot of people, and I just do think that our lives are becoming busier and busier, and I do think that sitting in a very classic barber's waiting for those lengths of times, I do think will change.